My name is Andrew Purvin and I'm the Artistic Director of the Fetch Theatre Company. I'm going to teach you some techniques today on how to bring a puppet to life. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wake up this old man. I'm going to focus on my breathing and then I'm going to try and transport my breath into the puppet in order to bring him to life. I want you to imagine that the lights have been turned off and that there is no light in this room whatsoever. And the only way that I can find my way around this room is by using a torch. So I'm using the puppet head as a torch, and I'm even holding the handle at the back as though it is a torch. And the eyes of the puppets are the lights which show me in which direction I should be going. So, as an example, if I see that cup, I must shine my torch at that cup. I keep shining at it. I pick up the cup, shine my torch at it. I look at the audience to get recognition, back at the cup, and then I'm going to take a little sip. And I spill some, so we look down at the spill, up at the cup, back at the audience, and then at the cup again, and then I'm going to put it down. And then I look over and I see my flowers, and I think, they need some water. So I look down at the watering can, I pick it up, and I look at it with my torch, look back down at the flowers, back at the watering can again, come over, water the flowers, put the cup back down, and then look back at the audience. It's really important, and probably the most important technique of all is that you keep using the torch to show the audience that the direction that you're going in and what objects that you are looking at. I've brought this little pig on stage today. He's only a couple of weeks old. He's come from a little farm in Leinster. He's quite nervous because he's not used to seeing many people. Oh, and as you can see, sometimes he's just a little bit of a handful. Okay, I want you to just look at the face of the little pig. All I'm doing is I'm just flicking the back of his ear to get that heartbeat, that fast heartbeat that little pig has got. Just moving him just gently. I want you to just look at his face and just note the moment when I stop moving him. That very moment that I stop moving, the life pours out of the puppet. It's no longer a living thing. It's just an inanimate object. And the magic of the puppetry has died. So it is really, really important that you keep the puppet moving. Even if it's just that slightest of movement, it will give life to the puppet. As the puppeteer, I try to use my emotions to transport into the puppet. So I imagine that they start off in my brain and then slowly work through my body and then are sucked into the puppet so that the puppet can show my emotions and my body language. So as an example, the puppet can become incredibly sad. And in contrast to this, can become really happy. The puppet can do anything that a human being can do. It can laugh, it can dance, it can fight, it can backflip, it can even skateboard. But there's one thing that it can't do, and that is speak. But because it can show emotion, it can tell any story. When you're puppeteering, don't worry about the audience looking at you. Just dip your head slightly so that they can't see your face and concentrate on what the puppet is doing. When the puppet moves, it must be that the puppet always moves first. Then you can look afterwards. And when you come to pick up objects, just use your hand over the puppet's hand to pick things up. The audience will get used to the fact that they are meant to be looking at the puppet's eyes and not looking at you. So concentrate on what they are doing. When you're performing with the puppets, it's really important to keep the puppets' faces facing out towards your audience. I always try to imagine that the stage is like a painting and that you are creating the characters that are going to fit within that painting. So there's no point in having the puppet come in sideways like this with your leg in the way or your arm covering the face of the puppet. It's really important for them to be seen clearly by the audience. So I try as much as possible to have my feet facing directly towards them. So, as I said, in my mind, it is best to keep the puppet out front and dramatic. The style of puppetry that I've been showing you today is called Bunraku puppetry. It's 700 years old and comes from Japan. It's much different than the Western styles of puppetry because the puppet is connected to me by the waist and also by its feet. In Western puppetry, they tend to use glove puppets or string puppets, and the puppeteer is always hidden from the audience. But with this style of puppetry, the puppet and the puppeteer become one entity. You don't need sophisticated puppets in order to tell stories. You can just find a doll or a toy that you might have at home. The techniques that I've shown you, they will still apply. You can even make puppets from objects that you find at charity shops or things that you find around your own house. You'll soon see that the techniques that I've shown you can be used in many different ways. I'm really passionate about puppetry, and once you start playing with puppets, I'm sure you will be too.